What up, you guys? Welcome to another video by As Told by Gigi 101. So I am in my car because it was raining so hard that I could not get out, and I felt like this was the perfect time to do this video. And of course, the minute I hit play, gray skies gonna clear up, like put on a happy face. But I figure, let me just sit here and do this video anyway. So first things first, I want to address my hands. We did tie-dye, if you can see the shirt right there, a little glimpse of my tie-dye shirt at work with the children today, and one thing led to the other, and you know, what can I say, I like to get my hands dirty, I don't know, but so that's the first thing, because I know I talk a lot with my hands, and I know someone in the comments, if anyone watches this video, is gonna be like, girl, what is up with your hands? So I just wanted to address that. So the reason why I wanted to talk on this particular topic is because I felt like it was put on me to do this video, and I consulted some friends, thank you, Annie, specifically, and she was like, girl, you should really talk about this. And I kind of like put like a Twitter comment out there, and I got a lot of reaction, and I put like a screenshot of that Twitter on my Insta story, and it also got a reaction. And so Annie was like, you should talk about this because someone might need to hear it. And basically it's about being okay with being single, and I feel like some people are just naturally okay with being single, and some people aren't okay with being single, and then some people, it's a process for them to get to a place where they're okay with being single. And so I guess I kind of just wanted to talk about being single, but being happily single, and how it's demonized. And I feel like in order to do that, I should give you guys a little bit of a background like story on my relationship with being single. So I've spoken on several occasions about, you know, how I always felt like I needed to be in a relationship, and I needed to get married, and I needed to have children. And while to this present day, yes, those are things that I would like to have in my life, I do not feel that it is as pressing to me to have it now as it was before. And I feel like I've grown a lot in that area of my life, and I'm immensely happy with that, like ecstatic about that. So how it all started, because I have several videos where I talk about that, having that insecurity and just feeling like women in general are demonized and like ridiculed if they don't get married and have children by a certain age, and you get put into that bubble. I've done plenty of videos on that, and if you're interested in that, I can link the ones that I can remember that I did down below. I don't want to go too heavily in depth in that. The story of where I became happily single and the message of everything actually started last year. So, and I feel like I never addressed this either, and it was something that was talked about a lot last year, and then it just faded out, and I intended on talking about it, but then I never did. So basically, on on New Year's Eve of 2007, I had started talking to someone that I had met on an online dating site, and that was our first conversation, and then we moved into 2018 talking. And for me, I feel like you really should know what you like in regards to someone else, or like what your standards are, and what is your attraction. Because like if your attraction is just purely physical, that's really shallow, and like I don't know how happy you're going to be for the long haul. I mean, it's always nice to have someone that's nice to look at, but if they don't have substance to them, like I'm not sure how happy you're going to be. That's just me. So for me, something that I find very attractive when it comes to dating is being able to have good conversation. You guys know me, I'm a talker, I like to talk. And so I met this guy, and we had fluid conversations. And it was fluid conversations like how I talk to my best friend. And that was wonderful to me, because it's like, okay, this is great. Like, we can actually have a conversation and goof around. And we had great conversations. We talked on the phone for hours, and we never ran out of anything to talk about, which is the same thing with my best friend. And so I thought that that was great. Now, the funny thing about that was at that point, I did not want to be in a relationship. Like, I was perfectly fine being by myself. And so I know a lot of you are probably like, well, Gigi, if you didn't want to be in a relationship, then why were you on a dating app? Because I had the dating app prior. I'm one of those people where I have loads of apps on my phone that I never ever open because I downloaded them and used them for like 2 seconds and then I was over it. Like, Google what it is to be a Taurus and you'll understand. I'm lazy. I got it. So basically what ended up happening was he messaged me and we started talking. And initially neither one of us wanted anything serious, but the chemistry was just so high octane and everything happened so quickly that like things just started to fall in line. Feelings got caught rapidly, and as quickly as it began, it ended just as quickly. I never posted him on my Instagram, and I never put him on any of my social medias because even though everything was really high octane, there were still some red flags that I personally felt that I was just like, I don't know if like I could trust putting it on social media, because I knew putting it on social media was going to be a big deal, especially because at that point my channel was still like on a pretty good high from like Pretty Little Liars and all those things. So like my interaction was still really high, and so there was a lot of speculation, like a lot. So I finally posted a picture on my birthday, and then literally a week after that, I ended it. Now, the details of that, I personally believe that those things should never be aired out. It's really none of anybody's business. It's between him and I. But like I said, just as quickly as it started, it fell so quickly. But I have to admit, like, I was so grateful for that situation. I was incredibly grateful for it, and it was a situation that led me to be happily single currently. So from that relationship, I learned a lot about myself. I learned things that he brought to my attention that I didn't really know. And because he brought it to my attention, and because he allowed me to be completely honest about certain things, or about everything, honestly. I was allowed to be completely honest about everything, and he really was able to knock down my walls. Like, I don't know how I come across on camera, but I can tell you that when I'm in a relationship, I'm very guarded, and I guard myself with, like, being cynical and being sarcastic. Like, that's how I keep myself guarded. And he like caught on to that so quick. And I was also impressed by that, because all the guys I've dated, the relationships I'd been in, none of them had ever caught on like that. So like he had caught on to that really quickly. And I was just uber impressed by that. So flash forward 5 months, we break up. I had to do a lot of soul searching, and I'm one of those people where when I break up with somebody, I don't jump into the next relationship, and I'm not judging people that do that. If that works for you, then cuckoo ka-choo, like, good for you. But that does not work for me. I have to self-reflect before I can be with someone else, because I've been in relationships where guys have not done that, and I've gotten the short end of the stick because they were still hung up on their ex and the things that they did, and it was reflecting upon me and how they treated me, which was a big thing with this particular guy and I. And because I had been through that, I never wanted to do that to anybody else. So I always give myself enough time to sit back and really evaluate what went wrong, what was my part in what went wrong, and what were some maybe deal breakers that I had that I did not like follow through with. Like some deal breakers that I initially had, but because I liked the person, I kind of like reneged and like let it fall to the wayside, you know? So I thought about all those things. I played all of those things into accountability before I jump into a next relationship with someone. Now, very true to this particular situation, I had to stop and I had to think. I had to really sit back and evaluate what happened. What were the things I turned a blind eye to? Because I think everyone in a relationship can turn a blind eye to certain things before it blows up in your face, right? So I had to think, okay, what were some things that were like triggers or some flags that I turned a blind eye to? Or what were some things that I tried to work on? I questioned, did I try to work on things, or did I just give up because I was tired of the BS? Like, I really tried to weigh those things out and for myself, so I know how I can be a better Gigi in the future, because no one is perfect and we all make mistakes. The point of making those mistakes is to learn from them. And one thing about me, I'm very upfront about that. I'm very upfront about that. So how that ties into this whole entire video is that from that whole situation, I learned so much about myself that it now allows me to be happily single. And I'm here to tell you that there is absolutely nothing wrong with being happily single. There's nothing wrong with it. Because you know what? If you're happily single, it's demonized. Oh, you're destined to be a spinster. Oh, you're destined to be by yourself forever. Oh, you're selfish. That's why you can't be with anybody. Or something's wrong with you. That's why you're never in a relationship. But then if you're unhappily single, it's, oh, she's desperate. Oh, she's pathetic. So basically, at the end of the day, you're not going to please anybody. So what you need to worry and focus on is pleasing yourself. I firmly believe that, number one, turning 30 had a big role in me coming to this revelation, and that relationship had, or whatever, that situation had a big role in me getting to this space too. Because through that relationship, I realized a lot of things, and I have no problem sharing them with you, and I will. So I realized that, one, I do want to get married, and I do want to have children, and those things are a lot more important to me than I would have admitted to myself. Like, I think that I really downplayed to myself how important marriage and children were to me until I was put in that situation. And then I realized, nah, homie, that's what you really want, and you're not going to compromise that for anybody. That's something that I realized. I also realized that it is okay. It was okay for me to feel how I felt in whatever situation, just like it was okay for any other person that I'm dealing with to feel however they felt. And like, that goes for like relationship or friendship. Like, if I have a fight with my best friend, she's entitled to feel however she feels about the topic. And I don't have to demonize myself or feel bad about how I feel or try to ration out my feelings, which is something that I always used to do in the past. If I felt bad about something, I had to examine why I felt bad and, like, was I allowed to feel bad, essentially? And from that situation, I learned I don't have to explain to anybody, let alone myself, how I'm feeling, because I'm allowed to feel however I'm allowed to feel. And so are you. From that relationship, I learned that I don't always have to be guarded. I'm a strong individual, and I don't need to guard myself. Like, I felt like keeping myself guarded and having all of these walls around me kept me safe. And I realized that it didn't. Having all of these walls around me to a certain degree was actually harming me, because I had blocked all these walls to keep other people in that I kind of kept, like, to keep other people out, that I had kind of kept like a reality out to myself. Like, I had enclosed myself and encapsulated myself behind these metaphoric imaginary walls, and inside those walls there was like these delusions of grandeur that weren't realistic, and I wasn't being honest with myself to a certain degree. And so from that situation, I learned all these things about myself. And once I was able to honestly admit all these things to myself and say, girl, Gigi, these are the things that you do. This is just who you are. And be able to say, I love myself for who I am. For me to look in the mirror and be like, girl, I love this pimple. I really don't, but I embrace it. Be like, girl, I love this pimple. I love these glasses. I love my nose, which I do have a complex about my nose. I feel like it's way too big. But like, I love my nose. And you know what? No, my curls are not super long and down my back, but I have hair, people. I got hair. There are plenty of people in the world that don't got hair for 1,000,001 different reasons. Alopecia, cancer, they pull it out because it's a nervous tick. You know, I don't have any of that. And being in that situation it forced me to almost face my own demons. And the minute I was able to do all of those things, and it was a process after we broke up. Like, I learned a lot of it in that situation, and I learned so much more after. And I learned all these things about myself, and from that whole experience, I learned how to fully love myself. And that does not mean that there are not days where I wake up and I feel disgusting, but it means that there are far fewer days that I wake up and feel disgusting. And the minute that I could finally love myself and say, you know what, you're worth so much more than you give yourself credit for, and you're worth so much more than the BS guys you date. You know you date some BS guys. Like, girl, gotta level up. The minute I was able to do that, I had a whole new respect for myself, and I feel like other people realized that I had a whole new respect for myself. And now I feel like, which leads me again to why I had to do this video, is that now I'm being put in situations where guys are approaching me and I'm like politely trying to say no thank you, and it's an issue. Why? Like, why don't you want to be in a relationship? Like, everybody wants to be, like, literally I had a guy ask me, why don't you want to be in a relationship? Everybody wants to be in a relationship. And that thought just kind of weighed in my mind, like, for a little bit, and I was like, because right now I'm good by myself. I'm having a blast by myself. I am having fun traveling. I'm having fun exploring. I'm having fun with all these things. And does that mean that I'm not open to having a relationship? No, not at all. I am open to a relationship. Because what I've learned is that a relationship is a lot of hard work, and I've spent a lot of time working hard on things that were not worth it. And now I can recognize when something is worth it and when it's not. I recognize it so much better than I did in my earlier 20s. And it's so freeing to be here. And I want you girls to know that if you are happily single, there is nothing wrong with that. Nothing. Because you know what? When you're happily single and you're thriving and you're worried about yourself and your health and your self-care, and you're not deprivating yourself with this anxiety of like being alone for the rest of your life like I personally was, you miss out on so many great things. And you miss out on so many great opportunities. And you know what one of those great things is that you miss out on? You miss out on the person that you're supposed to be with. So don't try to twist this video and say, oh, she just loves herself because now she wants to find the right person. No, that's not what it is. What it is that I love myself. I know my self-worth. And I know what I am worth. I know how I should be treated. And there are no more slides. There are no more passes on things that are so important to me. And because of that, I am so incredibly grateful to that guy that I was dealing with last year. I was not angry with him. I was just really, really hurt. And I couldn't figure out why we couldn't work because we had this dynamic chemistry. But I am so incredibly grateful to him because I learned so much about myself. And I feel like everything in life happens for a reason. And that situation happened for a reason. And every situation that you're going through is happening for a reason. So if you are single and you are happy being single, girl power. Be happily single. Don't let anybody tell you that there's something wrong with that. And if you are unhappily single, I want to encourage you to really stop and look inside yourself and ask yourself, why are you so miserable being single? Because I promise you, if you just get to know yourself just a little bit, you'll realize how freaking awesome you are, how amazing you are, how amazing your friends around you are, or maybe you'll realize the people around you aren't that great. Because sometimes that toxicity, couldn't get that word out. Sometimes that toxicity that we keep inside of ourselves, we think that it's not excreting, but it is. It's excreting from our skin like sweat does. And other toxic people smell that. Misery loves company. And you know what? Yes, friendships and people in your life might start to veer when you are in a new stage in your life, but that's okay. It's okay, because you have to remember, as cheesy as it sounds, but the people that are meant to be in your life are always going to be there. And I know I feel like I say this in every one of these heart-to-heart videos about having a season, but like legitimately, you guys, we all have a season. And your season is coming. Like, your season is like legitimately coming. But in order for your season to come, you have got to love yourself first. You've got to figure out what makes you amazing. You got to spend time with yourself. Figure out what makes you amazing. What makes you happy. You love yourself and you're happy with yourself 110% within yourself. It's a whole different situation. I feel like you're not going to nitpick about as many things or fight about as many minuscule, arbitrary things that you would when you don't feel good about yourself. Because when you don't feel good about yourself, you do one of two things. You either constantly tear yourself down, which isn't attractive to anybody, or you tear other people down because you want them to feel as bad as you. Both of those are toxic situations to put yourself in. So I want to encourage you. Like, I feel like this video initially started about it's okay to be single, and it is, but I also want it to be a message to those who are unhappily single. Stop searching for something. Figure yourself out first. Figure out what you like and what you love, and just enjoy your life and I promise you, it's going to come to you. What you're supposed to have is going to come to you. Your destiny is going to come to you because your life path has already been determined. So you're going to get what you are supposed to get, but it's a journey, it's a process, and part of that process is knowing and loving yourself. As cheesy as this sounds, if you can't love yourself, who's going to love you? Because a lot of times we think that we're doing a really good job at faking the funk and being complacent, and we can fool some people, but the real deal, the real people in our lives, we can't fool them. The person you're meant to be with, you can't fool them either. So work on being fully happy with yourself, and work on being okay with being by yourself. Those are just so important, and it's an amazing life lesson to learn. And I'll tell you what, girl, boy, ain't nothing more freeing than to be able to say, oh, I don't care. Oh, goodness. That is like the best feeling in the whole entire world. And for some people, that comes easy. Stop faking the funk and learn to love you. And I'm telling you, you're going to see the world so completely different when you learn to love yourself. And you're going to be amazed at yourself with how much you've grown. Like, I can tell you, there are certain situations that I have been through just this summer alone where I tell my best friend, I'm like, you know, girl, I'm so proud of myself, because we all know just last year I would have been bugging out over this situation. And now I can look at the situation and I can either honestly congratulate someone. I can look at the situation and be like, girl, I don't care. Makes you happy, please do it. Because the minute you become happy, you stop being miserable and you stop being a negative Nancy and you stop bothering the rest of the world. And that's the problem. So many negative Nancys, because they're not happy within themselves. We need to stop that. That's all that I have for you guys today. I hope whoever needed to hear this heard it. I hope it finds you well. I hope that if you watch this video and you cry, because I know I've watched videos like these and I've cried, I hope that you cry because it made you realize that you're an awesome person and that somebody out there sees that you are struggling. Like, that somebody recognizes that you're faking the funk right now and they just want for you to be happy, because that is ultimately what this point of the video is and what I want for you. I want for you to be happy. I don't want you to fake the funk anymore. I want for you to genuinely be happy and to stop pretending in front of people who are irrelevant to be happy, okay? I love you. I don't even know you, and I love you. Like, that's what moms say to their unborn children. Yeah. All right, you guys, that's all I have for this video. You will see me whenever you see me next. Let me know in the comments what kind of videos you would like to see, and I'll be seeing ya. Loves and likes ya. Bye-bye.